We'll go ahead and call Washington County Fiscal Court to order, August 2nd, 2016. We'll start with our guests. We got Gina Leeper going to come up and give us some information about the Merriman House awareness. Good morning, ma'am.
Thank you for letting us come present. I'm Gina Leeper. I am the campaign chair for the Merriman House. I have Mary Foley with me. She's the executive director, and Crystal Reed. She is the board chairman. And we are here, but first of all, I want to say thank you for providing the space downstairs for the Merriman House in our outreach office here. But we were here today. We wanted to present to the commission and raise awareness of the Merriman House and exactly what we do and how we affect the community, especially the constituents here in Marshall County. We are working on a project to expand our services and our facilities, and we wanted to present that to the commission. I would like to invite Mary Foley up to give us a give you a brief overview of the project.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This feels very official for 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm just saying. So the Merriman House Domestic Crisis Center has been providing services to our community for over 40 years, actually. And so you do provide an office for us, so I also want to echo that gratitude. We serve the 8-county purchase region of Western Kentucky as your state-designated domestic violence program. A lot of folks think we are just an emergency shelter, and that would be a lot if we were just that, but we are more than that. We do offer a 24-bed, 24-hour emergency shelter located in Paducah, McCracken County, but it is for all of the 8 counties to utilize. And then we do have 4 outreach offices, one in Marshall, here in your courthouse, one in Callaway, one in Graves, and one in McCracken. And we're hoping to reopen our one in the river counties as well. And so the services that we provide would include a 24-hour crisis line. We provide legal advocacy, so we accompany your folks here to see Judge Mattingly for emergency protective orders. We work with law enforcement. I'm talking with Sheriff Byer about a program as well. So we provide a whole host of services, including economic justice to help folks repair their credit scores, housing stabilization, case management, youth services, mental health, lots of things. And we do those lots of things because domestic violence is a comprehensive problem. And we've actually seen that now 1 in 3 will be victims of domestic violence, with the most at risk being our kids, ages 16 to 24. So we have quite a problem on our hands, and the Merriman House stands ready to address those things. But we are at a critical and exciting point in our organization's lifespan, if you would, and we've been given the opportunity to purchase 26 acres of property in the old Board of Education property in Paducah, McCracken County. And so what that will allow us to do, and we do have a poster for you, is it will allow us to, everything in the gray will be the Merriman House. The white is a partner organization that's coming on board with us, which I think is going to be exciting for the residents of Marshall County. So let me just first say this is in your backyard as well. Merriman House serves 48 households in this past bit of time. 60 of those within those households represent 60 kids affected as well. We serve about 750 people a year, so Marshall County is about our 3rd largest service area. We fielded 493 crisis calls, so it is here. And so this building 2, which is right there, would be our now 36-bed emergency shelter. Right now, we do have 27 people in shelter, so we're 3 over our capacity, and we turned away a mom and 3 kids yesterday to try to relocate them to another ad district until we can work them back in. So that is certainly a need. The main building down here, Building 1, will be our administrative building. It will also have a commercial kitchen in it, and it will allow us to feed all of our residents and have all our administrative offices there in one place. Building 6 will be where we pull in our outreach team in the Paducah office. We'll pull them on campus so that there's easier referral processes back and forth. And then Building 8 and Building 5, there are actually 4 nonprofits talking with us about utilizing those buildings for other services that would be complementary and helpful to all of the residents and the folks that access that campus. Now over here in Building 3, which is right there, and then Building 7, Mountain Comprehensive Care out of Prestonsburg has signed an agreement with us, and we're working on the legalities of that right now. They're going to come on and purchase 13 acres of this. They're going to take those buildings. We'll take the other 13 acres and the rest of the buildings, and they're going to be bringing a inpatient residential substance abuse treatment facility to our 8-county purchase region. And so you may not be aware, but substance abuse is certainly a tremendous issue in our county as well as the purchase region, and it intersects greatly with domestic violence. And we know that, and we know that 93% of people that are in substance abuse treatment have an interpersonal violent history. So while law enforcement and folks that treat substance abuse are responding to that symptom, I'm here to suggest to you that it's a symptom of a greater problem, and many times that is a trauma or some sort of violence that's feeding that issue. So Mountain Comprehensive Care will come on site, provide that, and then they'll open a community mental health center in Building 7 with licensed therapists and mental health folks and intensive outpatient care. So really how this work should be done is very collaboratively and very comprehensively. And so for the first time, and actually we're getting word from Frankfurt that this is a state model, Western Kentucky, we get to be on the map for doing something very innovative, very collaborative, and hopefully be a state model on how we need to respond to these issues that are certainly affecting the residents within our community. So on that campus, you will have trauma treatment available through the domestic violence program. You will have substance abuse treatment available. You will have mental health available. And while I'm not at liberty to disclose the nonprofits that are interested in these other 2 buildings, it could mean comprehensive medical care, it could mean Head Start programs, it could mean homeless programs, just a really good way for us to come together as a collective and really do something great that we can be proud of. So the Merriman House is scheduled to close on this property September the 26th. So we are almost there in our finance piece. We are in the middle of a $3.7 million capital campaign to see the whole thing through. But I will tell you, we certainly do appreciate the support of the Marshall County residents as well. And the theme of our campaign is there's a place for you. And there certainly is. This is a human issue. It's not a me issue or a women's issue or a man's issue. It is a we issue because it affects 1 in 3 human beings and many that you sit across from probably today. So I just wanted to thank you all for giving us an ear and an opportunity just to share with you this exciting opportunity and open it up for any questions that you may have. And this is our board chair, so she can talk too. So.
Anybody got any questions?
Well, they agreed to do that PSA for us. When Georgia Smiled is her foundation, and domestic violence is one of her initiatives. And so I don't think they would know the Merriman House personally, even though I'd like to believe that they would. But she certainly does support domestic violence, and so they were very gracious in that way. The hotline number, thank you. It is 443-6001, and there's somebody there 24 hours a day to answer that hotline. How long after closing would we be up and running? So it will depend on the financing piece. We'll do it as we're able and as we can do it responsibly. But the architect is telling us, and the contractors that we're hoping to work with tell us that if everything runs smoothly, we would be renovated and in within 9 months.
Anybody else? I know great information and awareness too, because I know trying to move out to that location with the services that you've got, I've seen it firsthand. It's normally late hours, long hours, but the staff was always prepared and ready. So that's good information. Are you using other platforms to get your information out?
You know, we are. We've been to other fiscal courts as well, and of course, social media, PSAs. Channel 6 has been very, very good to us, as have local newspapers and radio stations to allow us to talk. We have a great board of directors that are also, you know, speaking that information. But I think that's part of my plea to you and my call to action to you all is that you be ambassadors for us and get behind this project in the way that however you can see fit. To your point, we do have 24 staff that cover the 8 counties and provide thousands of services, and only 9 of those are full-time. And we are unlike other nonprofits in that we never close. So we're operating a 24-hour residential facility with just that many people. So it's a lot, but we're pleased and honored to do it. And I think that, and all services are free of charge. So I want to make sure that you all understand that as well.
You know, the Marshall County Elks Lodge is a big supporter of y'all. We bought
Yes, you bought our playground.
playground equipment and installed it for you. We were,
And you also provided our Christmas dinner.
right.
yes.
We were happy to do that.
Yeah, so thank you for that. They have been fantastic. And those playgrounds they don't come at a low cost. And so they're critical to our kids. We do serve, we house families, you know. We do serve men as well, so I want to be very clear about that. We do serve about 4 men a year through our shelter. And then more, of course, in our outreach program. But kiddos exposed to domestic violence are more likely to either repeat the cycle as an abuser or as a victim. And they're certainly more at risk for mental health issues and other issues. So it's important that they get the services that they need in a safe environment. So thank you for that.
No other questions? Great presentation. Thank you. Next on the agenda under guests is Mr. Baird. Is he here? For Happy Feet? Is that? Yeah, you can come on up.
Kind of took me by surprise. I thought I was going to get to set this one out, but that's no problem. My name is Jerry Baird. I'm president of a nonprofit organization called Happy Feet Equals Learning Feet, and our model is to provide shoes for disadvantaged children in any of the counties that we become aware of the need. And last year, we worked with a couple of family resource people here in Marshall County and provided 120 pair of shoes. And this year, we were increasing that to 200 pair. And I wanted to talk to you as part of our fundraising efforts, because we are all volunteer organization, and we get our funding through donations and participation like that. I know you did help us last year, and we were just wondering if you would consider looking at that again this year, or some support in some way or another. Work with the family resource people from here specifically, we're working with the elementary schools. 4 elementary schools are looking at 50 pair of shoes each. Marshall County is one of the 16 counties that I'm working with now. We're delivering shoes in Danville today, Boyle County, Crittenden County tonight. It's just a busy time to start a school. And the ladies here in Marshall County, when we met back in a couple of, maybe even a month or 6 weeks ago, they had a district meeting that I attended, and they agreed that they would wait until school started and assess the children then to determine where the need is. So we're looking at measuring or fitting these kids in August, late August, and then maybe September, October, we'll get them a new pair of shoes. And these are quality name brand athletic shoes is what we provide.
Is that the same organization? Do y'all remember at the Magistrates Association?
That is, yes, it is.
So it's statewide,
Well, pretty much.
pretty much. Yeah.
Trying to be.
Trying. Okay.
Like we provided 4,400 pair of shoes last year. We range anywhere from like 775 pair of shoes in Hopkins County to 100 pair in Ohio County. And it just runs a gauntlet of need and funding.
Okay. Well, I knew that Brad had talked to you, and I guess he was going to talk to you afterwards.
Yes, that was what.
If you can
And we can still do that. I can leave brochures
Yeah.
for the court, some information like that.
That'd be perfect. Y'all have any questions?
Any questions while I'm up here?
I'm just going to expound on what the judge said. The Kentucky Judges Association and Kentucky Magistrates and Commissioners Association supports Happy Feet and at their conferences and so forth, that have donated, and they choose a county each year to contribute to, and so very good program.
Thank you. I started, I guess it's in 2009 in Union County, so.
Okay.
It's if it's not statewide, it's definitely, where are we at? Frankfurt or Louisville? I forget where we were at. But
Versailles this is August 7th, going to Versailles and do a program up there to help introduce it into that area, which will be Woodford County, for that particular location.
Okay. But yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you being here, and we'll get with Brad after fiscal court.
Okay,
Thank you, sir. We'll move on under correspondence. Cypress Creek Watershed Community Meeting, I just want to make awareness, August 9th this year, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. at Calvert City Library. They have a meeting. They share a lot of great information regarding the Cypress Creek area. And if anyone is interested in attending that, that's the time to attend and get great information. It's almost like the Friends of Chestnut Creek. They do a lot of extensive work over the years, getting soil information. I know with Friends of Chestnut Creek, there was high E. coli counts in the water shed. So if you're interested in that, I highly recommend you attend and getting some good information on that. Also on their correspondence, just to advise, UK Dentistry Clinic is now open. They're offering comprehensive general dental service for special need patients, babies, children, and adults, including preventive services, retroactive services, endodontic service, oral surgery, sedation available. So Medicaid and several other dental insurance plans accepted, and that's at the Marshall County Health Department. So making you aware of that.
It's a good program.
Yeah.
It's been going on at the different schools for a while. It's going to be very good for it to be located, I think, more central where more people maybe can take advantage of it. I know Jonathan Elementary took advantage of it for several years. There's kids that might not even have gotten to the dentist ever that was able to get some treatment.
Benefited from it. Was that the bus?
Yeah.
The one that they go around in? On their old business, approved the minutes for July 11th.
Make a motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Move on to nuisance ordinance, be the second reading. Ordinance 216-07.
What I will do, I'm going to give an overall summary and point out those things we've included based on the discussion last time. This is an ordinance relating to the abatement of nuisances and governing the maintenance of structures and premises essential for the protection of the health and safety of the citizens of Marshall County. Whereas the legislature has amended KRS 65.8805 et sec. to provide for a comprehensive regulatory scheme for the abatement of nuisances as it relates to real and personal property. Whereas the Marshall County Fiscal Court and the City of Hardin, Kentucky wish to take advantage of this regulatory scheme to protect their citizens, protect property values, and promote the overall welfare within their boundaries. Whereas the Marshall County Fiscal Court and City of Hardin have by separate ordinances entered into an interlocal agreement as permitted by KRS 65.8805 to further the purposes of this ordinance. Now therefore, be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Marshall County, Kentucky as follows. And it outlines the definitions And under Section 2, the public nuisance prohibited. Now, Section 1D under there has been modified. The excessive growth of weeds or grass such that it measures 10 inches or more in yard areas or such that it creates a hazard by impairing sight lines for motorists or pedestrians on or about the streets or roadways. This provision is not intended to govern fields, garden areas, or pastures. Section 3,
I was just wondering, I mean, when we talk about it, and we've been into this year, to me, worse than at other times, is a lot of our roadways, we do have sightline issues on our roadways, and I guess anybody's responsible for those themselves in front of their homes, or,
well, if,
I'm talking about on the right-of-way. How does it relate to the right-of-way
Well,
or the
the-
highway?
it wouldn't relate to the right-of-way.
Okay.
This would be nuisances on private property.
Okay, all right.
Section 3, creation of the Code Enforcement Board. Under Section 8, the members of the board may be reimbursed for any out-of-pocket expenses and may, with the local government's permission, be reimbursed for any necessary required training expenses. The Marshall County Fiscal Court and the City of Hardin may, by resolution, add or affirmative vote of the respective legislative bodies of the local governments, also address compensation for the members of the board and/or code enforcement officers, but nothing in this ordinance shall be construed to require compensation. Then under Section 4, Code Enforcement Board's duties and powers, Section 2, the board shall conduct regular meetings at a designated place and time according to its bylaws. The board shall be authorized to conduct special emergency meetings in accordance with KRS 61.805 to 61.850. Then Section 5, Code Enforcement Officer and Process, and under Section 1, the provision, a code enforcement officer should refrain from engaging in roving patrols to enforce this ordinance. This should instead primarily respond to complaints. However, nothing in this ordinance shall be construed to prohibit a code enforcement officer from issuing a citation in the absence of a complaint for an obvious and/or egregious violation where safety is a concern. Then the Section 6 on liens hasn't been changed. Section 7, fines, down in the first paragraph, revenue from fine monies collected from a violation in an unincorporated area of the county shall be deposited in the general funds of the Marshall County Fiscal Court, and revenue from fine monies collected from a violation in the corporate limits of the City of Hardin shall be deposited in its general fund. Then Section 8, Division of Costs and Expenses. Marshall County Fiscal Court shall be responsible for costs and expenses related to the abatement of nuisances under this ordinance for unincorporated areas of the county, and shall likewise be responsible for any reimbursement of out-of-pocket expenses for its two appointed board members. The City of Hardin shall be responsible for its costs and expenses related to the abatement of nuisances under this ordinance for areas within its corporate limits, and shall likewise be responsible for any reimbursement of out-of-pocket expenses for its one appointed board member. And in Section 9, the repeal of the prior ordinance is the same.
Is there any questions? I think that covered everything that we had questions about last time, if I'm not mistaken.
I was just wondering, as I questioned during the first reading about the revenue and the fines and so forth, and the system we have now, the ordinance we have now is obviously broken. That's why we're attempting to change that. But as far as the funding, we just finished the budget process. It took effect July 1st, and to my knowledge did I miss something? We have $0 for funding the nuisance ordinance. Is that correct?
That is
Correct.
And as we talked about during the first reading, our past track record, it comes down, the ordinance that we had in place previously as I said, was a broken system, but this nuisance ordinance right here, at the end, the final process, the final step comes down to the county going in, sending letters out. If they don't respond, cleaning it up, paying for it, and then putting a lien on the properties, and that, in our past, that has not worked. And it's the same final step with this ordinance as it was with that ordinance. And certainly, I think we need to be prepared, and I'm prepared to spend some money doing it, because I think all of us want a cleaner, greener Marshall County, but it's gonna cost monies to do so.
When we drafted the original ordinance under that law as it was currently, that was the means by which, the legislature had provided to address these issues. There was no guarantee that it would be profitable or even pay for itself. And I think the same thing is said here. This is updated merely to match the current statute, but the provisions for assessing and collection of costs are the same. So it would still be the same thing. There is a means, but given the status of the property will determine if there are going to be any monies collected or when.
Right, and as we discussed in the first reading, our last attempt to do this in Old Gilbertsville, the 6 properties that cost the taxpayers $15,000, and to date we've collected 0 on that. And that was 2.5 years ago, and I understand that, and it is what it is. And as Jeff said, the properties in that instance are not worth $2,500 apiece, and you just, this body's just got to take that into consideration, and we're doing it because we're proud of where we live, and we want our county to be cleaner and greener. We're going to eat $30,000 or $20,000 or whatever we better be prepared to, because every judge, executive, and commissioner throughout the state of Kentucky, as Jeff said, has the same problem. You are not going to make money on this. You're going to lose 90% of the funds that you dedicate to the project.
No, we still do have liens on those properties
Right.
in Gilbertsville, and, by some stroke of luck, they could produce oil or gold.
In that
or
situation,
something.
no, they will not. They
But
cannot.
at the point where folks, property owners allow their property to get in this condition, there's usually other people that are already in line to
Exactly.
collect.
Exactly.
And have filed liens as well.
That's why I say we better be prepared to eat it, and it's just the pride you take in your community, and I think all of us want to see Marshall County greener, and we all realize the fact that some of these properties need to be cleaned up. I don't know where you start. It's a massive undertaking, but you got to start somewhere. You just can't keep, kicking the can down the road, and I think it's a good attempt to head in the right direction.
So if you, in the appeal process, they can go to the board, but eventually they can appeal to the district court,
Circuit Court.
circuit court.
If they don't agree with, once they appeal to the board, if they don't get the results there, then they would actually file a lawsuit with the circuit court to challenge.
I thought this is district court.
It says district?
There's a few places in here.
Okay, well, that may have been something that changed in the new statute, and it may be district court now. Originally, it was circuit court, but Mr. Darnell had drafted this, and I didn't notice that.
Okay, this says waive the right to the final order to district court.
Okay.
There's a couple of places where it says the appeals to district court. Okay.
I stand corrected.
That's all right, I just was trying to make sure I understood. Okay.
Oh, yeah, one of the properties in Old Gilbertsville that they're paying.
Yes.
They have paid, they just started if they're paying.
No, they paid $100 a month for, yeah, almost 2 years probably of that one. That's the one of the probably 12 properties that we've taken action on that is reimbursing. She's got a balance of $650 left.
Who does? In Old Giversville, one of the 6 properties, Anita showed me there is 0 monies collected. Okay,
Sorry.
okay, yeah. I just knew the example of those
But-
6 properties
yeah,
and
and
the illustration of $15,000,
It's not
not
common that they repay.
no, it's not often, that's not much bang on your buck, $100 a month, and some of these people in the illustration that I gave had pledged to make payments and so forth, but as of yet, 3.5 years down the road, no money received, and it's up to us to take action if we so choose to do that, but as Jeff said, by the time you go through the additional expense of going through the district court and, you're farther in the hole and there's no monies available anyway. That's why the properties are abandoned. But some people will do the right thing and if asked, and they have.
Is there any other discussion or questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion. Nuisance ordinance 2016-72, second reading.
Do we want to discuss the funding, how this is going to be funded? We got an ordinance in place, but we have no money to fund it. If we want to,
We can discuss the funding now, or,
and we can discuss it at a later time, but certainly if we're going to have enact an ordinance, we need, because we're going to get complaints and
we're gonna have to put the board in place. They're gonna have to get their
Right,
bylaws.
right. So we'll have some time to discuss that later, okay?
Yeah.
Good deal. I'll move that we adopt.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda was Green Oaks Lane. If y'all remember, there was a resolution that was presented to us, and after discussing with county attorney, the property's closed, by the way, but they have access to the county road, so there's really no need.
Judge, I think Mr. Johnson's here on that as well.
Oh,
Yes, Your Honor, we're just here to follow up on the enactment of this resolution. The property has closed, and as far as I know, there's no complication, no problems, and there's been the people that bought the property have had no denial of access. This is more of a precaution, and I guess to protect them when they get ready to build the road, that y'all are gonna be willing to accept it if it meets the county's specifications.
sure. Would, after talking with Jeff, would a letter from his office with his opinion suffice? I mean, there's no,
Really would prefer the resolution be adopted and it'd be on the minutes of the fiscal court. We don't worry about losing a letter then or having anything, and I don't think there's anything inappropriate about the resolution. It just confirms basically that it is public access.
Marty, I
Right.
think their concern is that the policy in the county is, there's no restrictions on connecting to a county road by driveway or by, developing a road or anything. And it was, what I told them when it was first mentioned to me, I was, well, I don't know if it's necessary. And I think that's what you said, it's more of a precaution for courts down the road.
In the event that we ran into a problem and the property owner wanted to deny us access, this would prohibit us from having to bring the county in as a party to establish the public access that would be required. We would just cite the resolution as confirmation that the county's position was when we bought the property, that we had access to the property from a public standpoint. And so this is what you always worry about. It's not, 2 years from now and somebody just says that, I've been mowing that and I don't want you to come through here anymore. You got to take some kind of action to enforce the public access. And in doing that, we would be responsible for bringing in the county as the agency that controls that property. And we just think that would be a waste of y'all's time and our effort to do.
And I think this one is more of an issue for you because it's connecting to a subdivision road. But that subdivision road has been dedicated and taken into the public system.
It varies from the platted subdivision that you all accepted, because what happened, they ended up doing a cul-de-sac some distance away from the property line. The way the streets were designed in the subdivision, they came all the way up to this property. And if the property had been developed by the developer in the manner in which he made the presentation to the fiscal court, you would have had a road that was already built up there, but they stopped short of that. They built a cul-de-sac there and so didn't finish it out to the property where they're showing the boundary. And that's our only concern, is that we just don't want to be in a mess in the future trying to sort it out, so.
And the property does, the property in between the cul-de-sac is the county's, I mean, it's the easement. So it's right away.
The
There's
plat
no,
dedicates a cul-de-sac and then a little roadway there that is.
There's about a 30-foot right-of-way there, isn't there, there in the 25 acres? Matt Clark called me, the owner of the property that was going to be sold to the Fords, and my understanding was it's not part of the subdivision. It's a 25-acre tract at the end of the subdivision, that cul-de-sac, and all that property owner, the new owner, wants assurance of is the fact that he can put his, when he builds a house on that property, he can join that county road and that cul-de-sac in there, and this protects not only the Ford family that's about to build a house, but whoever, as you stated, whoever buys a house after them and after them and after them, and doing it right the first time. But I think that the resolution, I have no problem with the resolution. I'd move we give the judge the authority to sign the resolution.
I live on Green Oaks Lane, and Denise's daughter lives at the cul-de-sac. So you're saying the people that bought the land past the cul-de-sac want a road now to go all the way through?
No, they want their driveway to connect to that cul-de-sac.
Okay, so
Their driveway only, no road.
with our dead-end street.
Right.
So I didn't know, and I know with young children, Denise's daughter has young children, they're playing, and I didn't know if that meant a road all the way through to like Skell Road. That's not what.
That's not my understanding. That's not my understanding. One property owner, one house, one driveway we're talking about here. Isn't that correct? One driveway, one house, 25 acres of property that adjoins that.
Because I know when it went up for sale, we were just all hoping it wouldn't become,
You don't want another 25 houses back there in a speedway. I agree. I wouldn't either.
That doesn't keep that from happening, though, does it?
Yeah, I would say that in the future, if that ever developed, it could be. It's not, it'd be one of those things that you can't predict how a property owner might want to use his property in the future. And
right.
but at this stage, they're wanting to build a house back there and don't have no intention of it.
This resolution doesn't change the fact that could happen.
It could happen anyway.
Right.
Right.
Right
Right.
now.
I think for me, and I think we all understand that, I think, but what, Jeff, what you had stated was they have access right now. I mean, as far as doing a resolution, we're doing a resolution when we really don't need to. There's nothing that's restricting us from for that property owner to have access to that cul-de-sac. Is that correct? Am I understanding that correct?
I think what the resolution is intended to do is to confirm the matter of facts as they currently exist in the public domain, the plat, the platting of the property, and the dedication of the property. And if you all had required them to build the road like they had dedicated it on the plat, we wouldn't be here talking about this. But the property, it stopped short about 30-something feet. It goes to a cul-de-sac, which is not on the plat. It shows a road coming into this property. And so we just want to make sure that the property owner, when he gets ready to build that house back there, is talking about being on a public way and not crossing private property.
That would be the only difference. I mean, this resolution does not change any policy or position the court has in regard to its roads, which I think are by law anyway, that, I mean, you're not going to restrict, you can't restrict access to adjoining property owners.
Right.
And this issue with this additional property that's platted but not blacktopped as part of the road is what they're attempting to make sure there's no misunderstanding that is, I mean, that additional documentation on the record that is property that can be accessed by the adjoining property owner.
I think you made a motion. Is there a second?
Just as long as we're clear that we're talking about a driveway and not a road. I agree with what Ann said when Marty first started talking. I wasn't aware of a road. We're talking about a driveway.
As far as I know, the current property owner is building his home back there, and will have a driveway coming out to this.
That's the way it was explained to me, a driveway connecting to that cul-de-sac.
I'm not gonna sit here and deny that these people could sell this to somebody else 10 years from now, and they might wanna build houses back there.
But that would be a road and not a driveway.
They could build a road on this property that we're talking about. It's a dedicated right of way for a road.
Yeah, it could happen regardless of this.
Right, okay.
I'll second that.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Yes, sir.
Marty, do you represent the Fords or the Clarks?
We did the title work for the Fords
Oh.
to get access to the
Would you get a copy of that resolution? I know you will to your clients, the Fords. Would you get one to the Clarks too? I know Matt's talked to you and I told him I'd get him one.
When you all get it finished and it's ready, I'll get a copy from Brad, and I'll mail both of them a copy.
Thank you, Marty.
Move on, under old business, fats, oils, and grease, the fog management program ordinance, 2016-08, be second reading.
All right, I'll read this as a summary. The purpose, the Kentucky Department of Environmental Protection has required the Marshall County Fiscal Court to implement a fats, oils, and grease fog program. These guidelines are intended to facilitate and ensure compliance with Marshall County Fiscal Court's fog management program. The accumulation of fats, oils, and grease within the collection system, sewer lines, and pump stations, and the POTW is an increasingly frequent problem for Marshall County Fiscal Court. These accumulations can cause decreased carrying capacity due to congealed fog inside the sewer pipes and pumps that make up the collection system. Once these lines become constricted, blockages in the collection system, quality of local receiving waters, and the environment surrounding them, aside from the environmental harm, untreated and possibly containing dangerous contaminants. SSOs can also lead to sewer backups into homes and businesses connected to the Marshall County Fiscal Court collection system. SSOs and the backups they use are extremely costly to the Marshall County Fiscal Court. The goal of the FOG program is to prevent the Marshall County Fiscal Court collection system blockages, obstructions, and overflows caused by the contribution and accumulation of fog from food service establishments and other commercial establishments. This includes the definitions, the responsibilities, the requirements for the fats, oils, and grease or fog management program for this ordinance.
Are there any questions?
Motion to approve the ordinance, Judge.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And this on its face,
Water.
Yeah.
yeah, this was on its face meets their specifications.
Got next, you got the bid. You got the bid in.
Yes.
We'll move on to old business, the bid for ventilators for the ambulance service.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't think I can read that one. All right, this is an advertisement for bid. It was in the Marshall County Tribune Courier, Benton, Kentucky, Tuesday, July 19th, 2016. Marshall County Fiscal Court is currently accepting bids for 3 portable transport ventilators. Submitted bids must meet the approved specifications. To obtain the bid specifications, contact Marshall County Ambulance Service at 270-527-1243. Sealed bids must be submitted by 4:30 p.m. on August 1st, 2016 to the County Judge Executive's Office, 1101 Main Street, Benton, Kentucky. The Marshall County Fiscal Court reserves the right to reject any and all bids. And it appears that there is one bid received July 28, 2016 at 10:38 a.m. This is from Ralph Millett, 3704 Winding Wood Place, Lexington, Kentucky. And price quotation, total price is $46,500. That's for 3 units and 3 carrying cases. There was originally $54,825, and there was line item discounts of $83.25, and then 15.18% discount for a total of $46,500.
What's the actual ventilator? Has it got, does that have anything with it as in regards to the actual ventilator?
Oh, it's got
Maintenance.
the documentation related to the ventilators. Revel ventilators is what that's for.
Brian, do you want to take a look at that to see if that's?
What did we allow in the budget?
47.5.
47.5.
Good thing we got a discount.
Yes.
While he's looking at that, we'll
$500 savings.
move on to you got the bid for the soils.
Yep. Topsoil. Oh, we don't,
The
Dennis
bid
got
we
those.
received.
Did he? What about the document management bids?
All right. This was in the Marshall County Tribune Courier, Benton, Kentucky, Tuesday, July 26, 2016. Marshall County Fiscal Court will be requiring sealed bids until 4 p.m. on Monday, August 1st, 2016, in the office of the County Judge Executive, 1101 Main Street, Benton, Kentucky, 42025 for Enterprise Content Document Management Solution. Bid specifications can be picked up at the County Judge Executive's office during normal business hours. Bids will be open during the fiscal court meeting on Tuesday, August 2nd, 2016. The Marshall County Fiscal Court reserves the right to reject any and all bids. And I would request seriously larger print if I'm going to read anything else. That's all I've got right there.
Get him a magnifying glass.
Okay, I'm going to hand this over to you.
Yeah, sure.
This is your,
This is from Municipal Code Corporation. I've been in contact with them. This is the only bid we got. Let's see here. Here it is. Total cost is $37,807, of which $6,692 is the annual support that would be paid each year. So all the other costs are upfront costs.
6,792, is that what you said?
6,000, no, for the annual costs?
Yeah.
6,692. Yep. And we demoed this this solution, and it was really good. We will.
And what did we have budgeted for that?
We've allowed, I think approximately 40,000.
How much?
40. For the
40,000?
document management software.
And I think that includes some scanners that we'll have to obtain to,
What was the bid?
the total price. was
37?
37,807.
Okay. And we have budgeted $40,000,
Yes.
and you said we need, that also allow with $3,000 going to get whatever else you said you needed?
The scanners. Mhm.
Scanners?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
Staying in our budget.
Yeah. What this will really do is create a lot of efficiency in the
Oh,
office.
I realize that. I
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure it came in under budget and so forth.
And a lot of these documents we want to make available on our website through electronically, and so that'll help us do that. And so we're going to start if you all approve this, we'll start the heavy lifting of all those documents to be scanned in while we go ahead and implement the system.
Also helps us be more transparent as a government.
Yep.
Very good.
Do we want to entertain a motion for the document management?
Well, we budgeted it and bid it, and I'll move that we purchase, accept the bid.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Brian? Is that what you're needing?
I'd been in contact with two different companies, CareFusion being the one. This Ralph Millett, he's a representative that sells CareFusion products. I'd been in contact with Zoll Medical. They sell a lot of medical equipment trying to see what kind of price they could get us. They were real good in working with us, got us prices and everything. They were actually a little bit cheaper than the CareFusion, but they couldn't provide all the different types of breathing modes that this sort of ventilator can. So in moving forward and just kind of going with the newer technology, this one right here would be the best option. Without getting too in-depth and too technical, the other one did not have what they call pressure-regulated volume control, which is the ventilator itself can kind of adjust how much air it gives in based upon the pressure it feels as it's delivering breaths, which we feel kind of going forward is a very important thing because, for one, it's better for the patient. It provides a lot less room for, barrel trauma to the lungs and stuff. So they came in, demoed it, very good ventilator. I know it's used. It was used on PHI in Paducah whenever they had their aircraft in Paducah. It's a real good ventilator, real small, so it's kind of good for in-the-field settings, and it's one I think would be a true asset to us.
I'm sure it fits the size. I know the size. You guys are cramped in the back.
Yeah, there just continues to be more and more stuff required on ambulances, and they're not getting any bigger.
Good. Well, I'm happy to know that our agency was the last to have the old ventilators.
Well, I'll just
Now-
tell you, every paramedic in Marsh County Ambulance Service is tickled to death for just even being able to have the possibility of getting these. So it'll be a huge asset for us, and it'll be good for the patients that we care for.
Good.
Go ahead and purchase these ventilators on this bid.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Judge.
Carrying me,
Thanks.
I want you to carry the best stuff.
Do what?
If you're carrying me somewhere, I want you to carry the best stuff.
Well, that's what we're trying to do. Sometimes that best stuff costs a lot of money. It's not currently, no. It is not currently a required piece of equipment. No, it is not currently required. There are, the Kentucky Board of EMS has proposed new 501 regulations which govern EMS. Right now, they're still in the public comment period, so they haven't been passed yet, but should those pass, for adult critical care transports, a mechanical ventilator is part of that.
Apparently, it's headed that direction if we're the only entity in western Kentucky that does not have that. The old, anything but
Yes,
the
we
old
are
ventilator.
currently, yes.
Okay.
Not anymore, though. We stepped up a little bit.
Good.
Right, thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, Brian. You got the bids for the topsoil?
Yes. This was advertised Marsh County Tribune Courier, Benton, Kentucky, Tuesday, July 19th, 2016. The bid notice is the Marshall County Parks Department will be accepting bids for approximately 1.5, it's cut off. 1,500, a lot of it's cut off. Cubic yards of high-quality topsoil, free of debris and extraneous materials harmful to plant growth. Topsoil shall be suitable for use on athletic fields. All bids must be submitted to the Marshall County Parks Department at Marshall County Parks Department, U.S. Highway 68 West, Benton, Kentucky, before 12 p.m. noon on August 1st, 2016. The Marshall County Parks Department reserves the right to reject any and all bids. For more information, contact Dennis Faust, 527-5284, or email. All right, there's one bid from Tract Co., located at 233 Berwick Lane, Benton, Kentucky. In summary, the bid for material and delivery is $17.30 per yard. The bid for material and loading is $11.93 a yard.
Grand total?
Bear with me.
29,
Well, the one that if they didn't deliver it, the 1193, that totals 17,895.
17,000?
Yes, $895, which equates and I know we were talking in terms of estimates before, that would equate, because we were expecting about 75 loads, that equates to $238.60 per truckload. If they delivered it, Jeff, what'd you say the number was, 17,
They deliver, it is.
1730?
Material and delivery, $17.30.
That's 25,950, which, again, 75 loads, that's $346 per load. And that's rough estimate.
We have the ability to deliver it, don't we?
We do.
I thought that's what we talked about.
Yes, that's what we talked about, yeah.
They're gonna load it. That's them loading it.
Right,
All we gotta do is drive in the trucks and
right.
Right, yeah.
do that.
Done anytime soon, I guess.
That's just, that's the other thing. The guy, he contacted me, and I said, if you want to figure, if you delivering it too, that's fine, but I told him what we had contemplated was the road department picking it up, but obviously, that's not gonna happen.
Well, obviously, this is not an emergency situation, and what the road department's been through since July 3rd is an emergency
Exactly.
situation, and not worried about putting topsoil on baseball fields, and it was Wendy's concern, and And, in my opinion, you know, we can put that on the back burner till we can get to it, and I know that's.
I
what you're
agree, I
asking.
agree with you on that. I mean, obviously, the roads are,
That'll meet your schedule, I mean, we may not get it in, I mean, you'll have plenty, I mean, you'll have a lot of time in the winter when, you know, when things calm down, it'll be dry enough probably to
right.
move soil.
I mean-
Dump it and spread it. But you won't get your grass in this year.
That's right. I mean, that's just, sometimes that's the way it goes. We'll have to look at some other alternatives right now. I mean, but I'm not, you know, I'm not saying we ought to accept this bid. I think it's probably higher than what we were anticipating too.
Is that the only bid?
That's the only bid we got.
What did we budget?
No.
We budgeted 0.
Right. I mean, for this particular thing, this is something that, again, of course, I brought to everybody's attention at the last meeting, said, let's advertise it and basically see what happens.
And it's well over what you expected?
Yes.
Okay.
I was gonna say, we can
Just revisit it at a later
Table it
time if it's
until
over
the
budget or over
Parks
what we
Board
expected.
meeting.
It's good for 30 days.
We can discuss that at the Parks Board meeting.
Table it at present, okay?
We can't move it now anyway.
Right.
Okay. We'll move on. Under old business, the Fair Dealing Olive Fire Department, the board actually, you got their board minutes where they discussed the $15,000 in paving, and where we would get into an agreement with them over a 3-year period where they pay it back. That way they have their parking lot paved, and they approved that agreement. So we're at that point where we just have to make a motion to approve it and then draft that contract up with the fire department.
Well, I'd move that we go ahead and front them the money, they'll be paying it back over 3 years, is that correct?
Correct? 5,000 a
Problem
year.
with that for me.
Second motion.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Jeff, you'll draft that?
Yes, I'll do that.
Move on their new business. Under new business, I added this. Wendy and I had talked, and we just didn't get it on the agenda, but the bid advertisement for Sharkow Bridge, we would like to go ahead and put that advertisement in the paper to go ahead and see if we can't get some bids for taking out. And that's a 60-foot span or 40?
Right, it's a 60-foot.
60 foot, to go ahead and start removing that bridge on Sharkow Road.
Remove it,
At this point, yeah.
Not replace it.
Eventually, we're gonna replace it.
Is that the one by Drew Moore's house?
Yes, it's the
Yes.
one there. By
In Little Cypress?
Yeah, it's on Sharkow Road.
Right.
old one-lane bridge over there.
Yeah. So at this point, we just want to do a bid advertisement for the bridge to be removed. And then later, we're going to have to advertise for new bridge.
With hopefully FEMA money or
State money.
state money,
Yeah.
preferably. You might mention, while you're talking about the subject, that the information, I know FEMA, it was originally stated that we weren't going to qualify for FEMA funds, but I think that has changed.
Yeah.
We may have met the threshold.
When they came and met with us at the Armory, there were 14 counties that had filed. Since then, there's 23 counties and cities that have filed. And the FEMA team is going to be on deck this week. We've got a meeting Thursday and Friday. So the state threshold was 6.2 million. So
6.17, yeah.
Yep. So they're going to be meeting with us Thursday, Kurt, 9 o'clock?
Thursday at 9 o'clock, and then Fridays, additional meetings for public assistance.
And that's at 8 o'clock
Yes.
Friday, and that's going to be in here in the courtroom.
probably host a meeting here, yes.
Yeah, so, again, those monies, even if we do get approved, it may be a year or 2 years before we see those dollars, but in the interim, we're going to have to.
That's almost a sure thing,
Yeah, yeah.
a year or 2 year delay.
We're going to have to use our own monies to get it prepared until we get that refund. But the state accounts, the state funds, the 2080 and the emergency funds are still available to us. But that Shore Cow Bridge, I think they're ready to move on that. We're at that point where we just got to make bid advertisements.
Shawcat, that road is still closed, right?
Yes.
Is it clearly there might detours, is any inconveniences that amount to anything right now?
No, they have ways out, both ends of the road.
It's an inconvenience, but they
Right.
have other ways out.
Yeah, they use it
Right.
as a cut-through road to the plants a lot,
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Nobody's landlocked or nothing like that.
No.
Yeah, the worst of it is if somebody needed a large truck on that one end, that'd be the west end of it, have to come through the P&L overpass. That's tight for any kind of a large vehicle. They just have to, there's not too many people impacted there, but still there's a few.
Right.
And the original estimate on that bridge, I think, was 180.
That was for another timber bridge replacement,
And-
what was in there. But I've met with the state engineers on it, and they felt like that bridge was way too short for the creek to begin with, and they recommend a 90 to a 95-foot bridge there. So there'd be a difference there, and whether or not, we use timber again or a different structure.
Right.
Need to figure out if we want a one lane or a two lane also. It was almost wide enough for 2 lanes, but it wasn't quite. But I wouldn't think about going back up it.
Right,
I wouldn't go back with a one lane structure.
Right, I would want it wide enough for 2 vehicles anyway. I mean, if you're gonna replace it, I think you ought to put one in there large enough. You can meet traffic on it.
Well, in the interim, we want a bid advertisement to remove the bridge.
So moved.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on the new business, Chamber of Commerce membership dues. You should see that in your handout. I think it's, where's it at here? We've got about 190 employees. Is that $1,100? For the 2016 membership dues.
Move that we continue to support the Chamber of Commerce, Judge.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Under new business, you'll see this is a letter of authorization, LOA, Energy Systems Group. It's a preliminary feasibility assessment on our energy waste. It could be anything from sanitation issues all the way down to just electric bills. But what they are offering to do is to come in, Energy Systems Group will come in, look at our current energy usage and develop a timeline, or not a timeline, but develop a project plan as far as waste, how we can save money. With, say, I know we had another company come in the jail, for an example. If there's area where we use a lot of energy in that facility, they can come in and give an assessment on it and save us some money. So what this letter of authorization is giving that company access to our energy costs and information regarding our structures at no cost to us. That's what I really liked. They will actually.
Price is right.
Yeah. They will actually prepare for us a finding of that information, and then we can go from there. And I think it's good because we do need to identify a lot of things as far as what we're paying for in regard. It's kind of like the phone. We realized that we were paying for phone lines that we didn't even have. In this case, we may be paying for electric bills that we shouldn't be paying for or don't even have. So it'd be twofold. But with that said, you guys have the material in front of you. I'd entertain a motion for ESG to come in and do a preliminary review of our energy.
So moved, Judge.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Anytime you get a freebie, just jump on it.
We've had these before, and you always find things that will help us.
Yeah, Train, we had talked with Train. They identified the lights out the park. Need to be replaced. They could replace those lights with better lights. I think the problem was getting tech and that crane all the way up there to replace that light bulb. Under new business, moving on, the ordinance 2016-09 building fee schedule amendment. Casey, do you want to educate us on that? It's the first reading.
Hopefully you have the revised fee schedule in front of you. What we are proposing on the first section is just the building fees. There's hardly a change at all. It's cleaning up a few things, verbiage. There is one addition, such as in-ground swimming pools. This allows us to have it on paper. This is what our fee schedules are. We're not having to fall back on something that's not documented. The other thing, and that's in the specialized fee section, spectator seating. Had to fall back on the state set fee schedule previous to this. This is actually the state's fee schedule. The first draft of this did not have that in there. Amazingly enough, we do have a lot of spectator seating in Marshall County, such as when the school was going in place, bleachers were installed, and having this on paper as far as our fee schedule allows us to have a set fee that we can't deviate from. Our second page is the electrical permit and inspection fees. We did not change that previously when we adopted the first page that you're looking at. The fee schedule that's in place now was created by the state in 2010. We adopted that as our county fee schedule, and we haven't touched it since. Just this year, the state has come out with a new fee schedule that actually is more acceptable to a lot of contractors. The previous fee schedule, for example, for someone that placed a $26,000 bid for electrical contract, we're hit with a 5% permit fee. That's pretty substantial, especially when a small contract job like that isn't going to require as many visits. With the new adjusted fee schedule, that would be a 2%. Which it's a lot more help for the contractors. They're not absorbing as much cost. The rest of the fee schedule is just adding verbiage for residential, something that hasn't been addressed before. It's clarifying things. Typical residential housing is going to be on the low end, which is below $8,000, and that's going to be a flat $300, which covers 4 electrical inspection visits at $75 a piece. Court has any questions, I'm willing to entertain those.
I just want to make sure this is the first reading.
So you have those, the changes to the, but you've just summarized the changes for the, that appear in this new ordinance.
Right.
Otherwise, it's the same as the old ordinance.
On the building section of it, that's the only thing we changed
Right.
in the original ordinance was the building side.
All right. I
This
think
time,
that's-
we are
that
adjusting the
serves as a
electrical
summary for
side.
the first reading.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
I got any questions? Appreciate it, Casey.
This is state, I mean, these are changes primarily just to add things that we left out before and then change to state fees.
The fee schedule that was in place was the state's fee schedule that they adopted in 2010. They have adjusted their fee schedule this year, and we're making changes to follow suit.
Casey, I have this for you.
State mandated changes.
You can tell them what they need to authorize the position. What that is, I've drafted, the board has asked me to draft an agreement, a contract for an alternate inspector. And what that does is, that serves as the agreement with the alternate inspector. And I think under the current system, to expand it to allow that, I think you would need to authorize it for the board to enter into that with him.
Do they need to see, have y'all seen, I don't think they've seen that.
No, they haven't.
This is the
I
first
just
time I've
drafted
seen
it.
it too.
Okay.
Would we,
We don't have to do that today, do we?
You want it today?
if we could, it'd be great, but could we strike building inspector? It's just an electrical inspector. What this is an agreement to allow the county to state that we want a secondary or a backup electrical inspector on the books. Right now, the county has one named electrical inspector, Larry Spears. No other electrical inspector can come within this county. Other counties have 2 or 3 inspectors. Allowing us to name another additional inspector will alleviate some of the pressures Spears has been feeling, with older age, as many inspections that we've had. So this will allow us to help him.
And I believe in the past, when Kat was not available, there was somebody that the court had brought in to cover his gap.
Right. This is one of those gentlemen that they have an agreement that if they are sick or not able to do so, that person will fill in for them. That's done all across the
Right.
state. They don't have to be paperwork for the court to do. But this is going to allow us to do it officially and have that secondary person, David Wagner, who's already doing inspections in Callaway, Trigg, Lyon, Livingston County. It'll allow him to be put on the record of the county.
I think we'd be foolish if we didn't do that. As much trouble as we've had with converting to residential inspection to start with, and
I agree.
Well, this is just the electrical, an alternate electrical inspector.
but Cat, as he said, he's not going to do it forever.
Do we read that in?
But-
Does that count as the reading of it, or does he need to read it?
Well, I mean, it's not, it's just, that's just the agreement. That shows that if there's an alternate inspector, that if he does work, he gets 80% of the fee, and the county gets 20%. That's the same rate. That's the same as
Cat's
the,
already getting.
but it just outlines that your minutes need to reflect you've authorized them to fill that position, and that is the agreement that person would sign. And it's, either party can get out in 30 days.
This agreement allows us to name any person as well. They can sign that, so it can be interchangeable. That way we don't have to have a new document drafted every time we want to do that.
Obviously, it's a qualified inspector.
Yes, sir, it's state
Okay.
certified.
Yeah,
The
okay.
state won't allow anybody that's not state certified to be electrical inspector.
I'd move that we approve the agreement then.
Is there
Second.
a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
We'll have the second reading, if you want, next fiscal court meeting.
Well, you don't need one reading on that. Oh, on the first, oh, yeah, you're talking about the ordinance, the first one, sorry.
Okay. Moving on to new business, sanitation district number 2, board resignation and appointment. Board member Melissa Hale resigned. If you know Melissa, she's opened up another business, Ponderosa, and she's got her hands full. So she resigned. There's a board appointment position open, and I would recommend we appoint Alan Beard to that position. He owns property in that district.
So moved, Judge.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on under new business, sanitation district number 2 loan. The board had a meeting last week, and we are now at that point where Rivercrest had put together the actual items under the Well, two things. You've got the Department of Water violations, those things that have to be fixed. And then you have other parts of the plant that the manufacturer had come down and had identified that need to be replaced or updated. So off of that list, they are ready to move forward. And this loan amount, which we're recommending $100,000, we had budgeted, I think, $350,000. 330. We had budgeted 330, but right now, they're ready to move forward and making those updates and those changes. Just so that, and I know y'all probably aware of this, the Department of Water, the 15 violations that we've got, each one carries a $25,000 fine per day on each one of those violations. So they're at the point where they're ready to move forward, and these monies will help them make those changes and corrections in additions to the plant.
Part of that's already been corrected, or some of the sensors or whatever they were needing is already in, they're doing a little better.
Yeah, they've got 2 tanks up and running. What they did is they, that day that the manufacturer rep was there, the engineers were there, they took pieces off of this one and that one, and they made it work. So it's got 2 tanks up and running. This will be a huge step in the right direction to make these changes and upgrades.
This is to the plant, of course, this rain we've had, they're still having, I guess, some infiltration problems that I guess they'll need to try to identify, but this probably not gonna do all that, or?
No, the plant, well, the plant, even with the I&I, in its full capacity and working condition, if there was an I&I increase, those sensors would be able to identify that, and they would speed up the process. So in theory, if they did, yes.
To
Yes.
some extent, that's good.
Is there a timeline to get that other tank up and running? There's 3 total, isn't there?
3 total. I don't have the timeline sheet with me, but we started, because we had to present that to Department of Water. We started July, and I think it goes to the end of this year, or no, March of next year, is the timeline that we said that we would have all these completions done. And the 3rd tank, a lot of these changes will get that 3rd tank. Yeah.
Obviously, the key word is we're loaning them the money, not giving them the money.
That's correct.
And they, from 2010-11, I think they owe this body $576,000 already, and as of last year.
Which a penny was not paid. We hadn't received one payment on that.
Yeah, I'm painfully aware of that fact, but, and also we loaned the district $20,000. So with the $100,000, that's roughly $700,000 they're going to owe the taxpayers in Marshall County that we represent. Is there going to be sufficient revenue to start at least making an attempt to pay that back?
The situation that sanitation number 2 district is in is that we've got to get their legs underneath them. They are not in
I
position.
understand that, and
so once they get to that position, yes, repayment plan there's already a repayment plan in process. The court approved it. They just didn't make a payment on it. But this court,
It's gonna take actually moving down, trying to kick out the high school schools if they ever get anywhere close to viable
right.
financially. It's something that I don't know how we're gonna manage to do it. I don't know if we can get some funds through the
Well,
state.
if my indication in our trips to Frankfurt is that if we get our house in order, then there will be monies for that. But at this point, you can't ask for money to expand when you're.
Till we're in compliance.
Right.
Well, we can get,
And these repairs run through July 2017.
Is it July? Okay. So at this point, they are prepared to move forward immediately once we,
I'd move that we, loan them the funds and basically, make sure we're keeping oversight over how all this is developing.
second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. For your review, in your handout, there's a South Marshall Fire Department budget. Anybody got any questions on that? Also, under new business, Marshall County Hospital audited finances for the 2015 fiscal year for your review. Under new business, the hot mix list for projected hot mix 2016 roads. If you look at those documents, with the July 3rd storm that we had, as you know, received a lot of damage to our roadways, and funding the repairs of those roads, regardless if we get FEMA or state monies, we're going to have to move forward with our own monies to make those repairs. The hot mix that we had projected in 2016 that we budgeted for, I'm asking that we take that road list and put it for next year's budgeted monies and use those monies that we have for 2016 to go towards the emergency repairs that need to be made on our roadways. I know we've got about 7. I didn't bring the one list that's already here. We've got repairs that we already made to some of these roadways, and they need an overlay, or else we're going to be repairing them again if we get another storm. But I know
We don't have that list in our packet, do we, the
No.
emergency road fund?
No.
But what,
You talking about the ones that have already been repaired and need overlays?
right,
No.
okay.
I've got it here if you
I
want.
mean, I saw those yesterday.
Yeah.
I think that's what you showed me, wasn't it, Des?
Yeah.
That list of that, okay.
This is just the monies that we had allocated for the road projects. Those monies we can use to repair the roads. Obviously, if we get any reimbursement from the states, 2080 or emergency funds, or if we don't need all the monies, we can go back to the original list and pick out some roads to.
What Judge and I had discussed was to take that hot mix money, that $600,000, $625 that we had allocated, and repurpose that to do storm repair. And then whatever we get throughout this fiscal year, come spring of next year, we will know how much that is, and then it will probably be a lesser amount than the original $625,000, but we'll know how much we have left to deal with at that point and know what we have to move forward with. So it's not that we wouldn't be paving in this fiscal year necessarily, but even if we wanted to pave now, we don't have time to get it completed and the roads repaired. So that's kind of what we were looking at is using those funds to fund the repair projects and then reevaluate come early spring of next year.
The amount identified here is $566,000. And
Well, there's been some reductions. I don't necessarily disagree, but I would really ask that if we move this and as we get FEMA funds, I would like for us to at least go back and revisit this if we need to go into reserves. 'Cause
Right,
If we're not
right.
careful, we're gonna end up
Right.
getting behind on our paving the roads. It'll just snowball and
Yes.
larger expenses that we won't.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're suggesting, isn't it?
Pretty much.
As
It's
those
just the
monies come in,
timeline
that
what
still
we-
got till June of 2017 to pave
Yes,
some of
yes,
these
that we
roads.
just felt like the repairs are a bigger priority
Oh,
than
there's
the
no doubt they're
standard
a
maintenance
priority.
right now.
No doubt
And
they're a
then
priority.
next early spring, when they start the plant back up, we can start reevaluating and see how much we want to dedicate at that point to paving, after we see how much we've had to spend out of our pockets.
I've got, and I've got one thing on a separate item, I guess. They just paved Hyatt Road. Y'all are aware of Hyatt over to the school. I would suggest that we go back to someone, I don't know if it's the state or whomever, but it was under my understanding that we paid for that the other day, or we're going to end up paying for that. That's something, they broke up that road over the large vehicles going in. Because the state, it wasn't the school system necessarily, but the state wouldn't let them come off of the bypass and go in there. And I felt like the state, I thought they were gonna make that right, make that good at one point, but I may be wrong about that. But I mentioned that, I believe, to Mike McGregor, and he talked like that would be something that they would take care of, and just verbally one time at I think at Majestic one day we had lunch.
I called, yeah, because I went out there and looked at it, and they did. I mean, High
It was a
Road.
good road before they,
Yeah.
I mean, really, I mean, it wasn't broken up. I mean, it was in really good shape before. We wouldn't have been looking at it to do anything to it until they started that project.
It was brought to my attention, and I'd called Trent Lovett with the school, and I talked to Michael McGregor. It seems like it's an old song and dance. The schools can't pay for any properties that they don't own, and the state, they sit there and they say that, well, this isn't their issue. They didn't create this issue, so you get the finger pointing, and we're right in the middle of it. So the state did, Michael did reach out to the commissioner's office, and their response was to use the discretionary funds. At that time, there were no reports that were submitted to the state for discretionary funds approved, but I think we're a month behind on our total billing as far as what the cost will be.
Yeah, I'll probably get it probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But,
Okay.
Smith is always behind on their billing.
Yeah. So once we get that, we can submit to the state out of the discretionary funds. And I agree with you. I mean, it's clear that they tore that road up, and it's a county road. I think for us in the future, if there's projects like that that are going on, we go out and we try to identify that as quickly as possible, especially if they're tearing up our county roads, because
I think we did, actually. I mean, I told them about that. Like I said, that we had a lunch meeting at Majestic. I don't know exactly what day, but we discussed that with one of the points of discussion. And I don't think at least the project manager I know very well, he certainly wasn't directing the heavy equipment from the school system. I mean, he wasn't directing them down that road. It was the state that told them absolutely they couldn't be turning off the bypass. My understanding.
Aren't the contractors bonded in those situations? The county does not require for construction like that, an outfit to come in? I know some of the cities do locally.
well, it's like the I-69 with Smith Contracting. They actually prepared for that. The
Sure,
county road that they're tearing up, they're going to
That one that goes beside
repave
Ray's
it and
Roost,
fix
they
it.
tore the heck out of it, but they fixed it back better than it was before, but that was an agreement between the city and the contractor. But my question is, do we not have anything in place can't believe that the contractor is not responsible if they bring heavy equipment in there and damage a road, or if we wanted to go out and tear up a road tonight, we wouldn't be responsible for that.
Yeah.
Whether,
I think it's going to be interesting trying to find who made that decision.
How much did that cost us? How much were we out countywide for that?
25,000 is what that road was.
Well, I think that was an estimate. What was?
That was an estimate, which the reason y'all's prices are different on this list than the first list that we originally gave y'all was because I went back and adjusted the hot mix price on it. We had figured it high at the beginning of the year. So that's the price difference probably. But 18,000 is what the estimate is on that road for it to be paved on High Road.
It's not on here now.
No,
Right.
we had moved it to this other list that I don't think y'all received. But it's on there with the roads that were washed out and stuff.
Yeah, it was, we tried to get it, we moved it up because of school starting, we were
But we
trying to.
just need, I mean, I just want us to try to see
Yeah.
what we can recoup. I just feel like it wasn't they created a problem there, I think, actually, the state did. I believe it's their responsibility.
The state created the problem or the contractor?
Well, I mean, the contractor went where they told him to go.
I think there is a
Or in
provision.
the contract, contractor's got to be bonded and insured
statute
for
that-
stuff like that, tearing stuff up.
To go after them for that.
Do that.
Against the contractor, or yeah, against the person that actually did the damage, the contractor.
Once we get that bill from Smith Contracting, then we'll look at that.
I'm sure the contractor is gonna say, the state made me do that.
But we can,
Still,
file-
I
But
still
they
don't.
didn't make them tear the road up.
That doesn't mean that they don't have to take care of it.
Exactly.
Responsibility for it.
Yeah, then-
We've dealt with that once before with logging.
Yeah, we did.
Years ago.
Yeah, years ago.
We have another situation on Duncan Lane, same thing. Someone's been logging it and they've tore it all to pieces. So we need to do something on that too.
do you have an estimate?
Well, those
as far as
contractors
what-
are bonded, though, to take care of stuff like
Oh,
that,
is
and
he?
and I
Well, that's-
guarantee you that
I think Duncan
construction
Lane,
company's bonded.
that's not a contracted, that's just a logging company that's in there doing,
Yeah, it's an individual that's logging on that road, but he's messed all the drainage up on it, the paving, everything's pretty much destroyed on it.
all right. Get with me after this and or do you have I know you guys are busy. I guess we need an estimate of how much damage.
I can get it.
Okay, we'll go with that. Any questions on this, as far as what we're proposing? Hopefully, our numbers will come in low to where we can, in the spring, have some monies to pick back up on this list, but time's only gonna tell.
I mean, I feel like we don't have much of a choice, but to do, that's not only the right thing to do. We've asked every other department head in this budget to sacrifice, and so as commissioners, I guess we bite the bullet for
For right,
$140,000
Yeah,
apiece
there-
in our district.
There will be some, I think, out of the 2080, I think Wendy, it was 178,000.
Yeah.
And then the 2080 funds, and then the emergency road fund,
Was 80 to 100.
80 to 100. So there might be, now
The
that,
difference on Sharkow Bridge too might take a lot of that.
eat all that up.
the only,
It's not gonna be cheap.
and we will ask for this approval step by step. Today, in my appropriation transfers, I'm only asking to move 100,000 right now.
Do we want to do 100, or do we want to just, I mean, because that bridge is going to be a large,
The state estimated, projected like 190,000 on that bridge, and that's the removal, putting another one in and blacktopping over it, so.
100 or 3?
I mean, 390, sorry.
390.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, do we want to do,
That's completely up to you all. I'll do whatever you want.
saying do 100,000 now and then come back and?
You mean of this asphalt money?
Or just move it all? I'm saying
I
just
mean,
move it
it's
all
It's
over.
gonna take more than $100,000 and.
Right, 100,000 is, I've got about 60, and I have,
I think it's around 60 from last meeting, but I'm just now getting a lot of the bills
Yeah.
in.
Take care of our emergencies, we can always move it back. Let's move it all. I'm in favor of moving it off and need to make a motion to that effect. We can always move it back.
can move it back.
Move it back.
and hopefully there'll be monies to move back. We need to take care of our emergencies.
That bridge is gonna get all of your paving dollars, Doc.
And FEMA's going to pay for that bridge.
3 years down
Let's
the
get the
road.
motion first before. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Well, if we go back and it's a 2-lane bridge, you get that put back in, I don't know, it really probably ought to be raised. It doesn't get, if there's any way we can get it done, because it gets water over it at times, it's really high water. It's the only time you'll ever,
They removed the bridge.
they've improved that overpass. I've always had a problem with that, P&L structure that's there, difficult to get any kind of trucks through. And they have opened it up some, but, until we put a 2-lane bridge in, they're not gonna, we could actually, after that, we probably possibly could press them to improve that further, so that we get more traffic through there easier. Be another access to the area into the plants, into, well, LWD, the waste path,
There's 12 entities on that road that desperately need another way in and a way
certainly
out.
wouldn't hurt anything to have another way in, and the only way you can do it is to get P&L to improve that overpass. So anyway, if we get a bridge in there, we might be able to lobby them to do a little bit of something there.
Did they give you a timeline on how long that would take to get that removed? Was that even discussed?
No.
Okay. We'll move on under new business, treasurer's certification. Want to explain that?
This is my recertification where I've completed my 40 hours of training, for my treasurer's recertification for 2016.
That's just further review,
Approval.
approval. Entertain them.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, salary schedule. There was an error on page 5 under C, Greenfield. What was that error?
I don't have a copy of it with me. We just noticed that the rate was incorrect on him, and it was listed as 2110, and the correct rate was 2035. So we just wanted to get that in the record, that correction has been made, and he was not paid at that 2110 rate, but at the 2035 rate.
Okay. But we got to make entertain a motion.
So
to make
moved.
that. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, amended annual order setting maximum amount for deputies and assistants. This is the CLEF funding that the legislation had passed. Was it 3,100? Now it's 4,100. Is that right? 4,000.
Yes, for the 19 deputies that received this pay, the reason why it's only going up 8,600 is because his salary schedule is on an annual calendar year, so it's only 6 months worth.
Entertain a motion to amend the annual order.
Move that we amend, take in the CLEF money.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Does that motion include to increase the,
Yes, mine did.
okay.
From $1,280,000 to $1,288,600.
600. Thank you. I just want to make sure.
I second it too.
I'm glad.
Intra-fund transfer.
I am asking to move from occupational tax fund to road fund $500,000. And then to the 911 fund, 109,597.95. This is above and beyond what we had budgeted. What this does is there was in the bill packets, there is a bill for this amount to AT&T for a grant that we received Jason Lubiker was director at the time. Yeah, it's been a while. We've been waiting on AT&T to install it. The grant that we've received is for $105,000 that we will get reimbursed for this. So the $45,97.95 is what's unfunded there. This would be, we wouldn't anticipate those funds back. However, the CMRS board has told Misty that there are some of that $109,000, there's like $2,300 worth of things on that bill that we may actually get reduced. So it may not be this much. So I'm just asking for up to that amount to move, so that we can get the amount right. We may be able to reduce that bill a little bit because the CMRS board was telling her that some of those things aren't applicable to that bill.
They have applied for a grant 3 years ago,
We've received.
and they have received the grant, but they haven't spent the grant money.
Correct.
Okay.
And after we spend the grant money, we will
Be
send in
reimbursed for
the request for reimbursement.
That's almost a no-brainer then.
Motion to approve the intra-fund transfers.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Budget appropriation transfers.
I'm asking to move, normally I don't speak about these, they're just zero out. But the insurance, I did get a quote from Keiko on the judicial building's earthquake insurance portion, which was $31,102. And anything I can ever appropriate to the judicial building, I try to do that. And this is the first year they've actually given me that separated amount. So I'm moving it from county insurance to judicial building insurance, so AOC can clearly see that that's for the judicial building. Right. And then this will change that from $100,000 to the $625,000 that you all requested to move from paving to the storm repair line. So that will be amended, and I'll get you a corrected copy, Des, for the record.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Approved payment of the bills.
Pay the bills, Judge.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
I got one thing, Judge, here at the end. September 6th meeting. I will be out that week, so I was wondering if we could move that or change it some way.
Okay.
The way the meetings fall, I don't know if it might be available the week before, at the end of August, but that would, I'll be here that week, and the meetings are gonna fall the 2nd and then the 16th.
End of August is the Governor's Local Issues Conference.
But anyway, I'll be.
You're gonna be
I
out
will
that
be
week?
I'll be in, I'll be out that week. I'll be out in Utah, working with Department of Homeland Security.
The following one is the 16th, I believe. This is the next fiscal court meeting.
20th. We'd have them back to back, but we'll shift it to the 30th and 27th.
You want to do the 13th? I mean, I'm flexible.
That'd be fine. I'll probably see.
That'd be the Tuesday before, we'd have them basically the 13th and the 20th.
13th of September, what you're proposing?
Yeah.
And
The 20th would be the regular meeting.
so we have meetings back-to-back weeks.
We can move the 20th to,
I think I'll be out.
And then you'll have,
you'll be out then too?
I think I'll be out the last week too. But I will be here the 13th and the
13th. I'm fine with that if y'all are.
I'll be here the 13th and the 20th,
Johnny,
or the 6th,
all right?
And the 27th?
or the 27th.
We'll do the 13th. We'll move September 6th meeting to the 13th. We'll just keep the 20th.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We've got a park board.